Hey, Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome to Philadelphia Eagles Now. It is a Thursday. We need to jump on with some more Eagle news and rumors, getting you ready, of course, for what's a pretty big matchup. I say that every single week. Let me say that again. What's a matchup? Because I say it's so big, it's so important. It's a matchup against the Chargers. We'll see what happens. We'll talk about that here coming up in the video. Let's start with some crazy stuff. You guys want to get really weird and maybe way too far ahead of ourselves and probably not going to actually come true, but let's just do it anyway. So, I was listening to the Adam Schefter podcast just the other day, and he had Chris Mortensen on, the other ESPN NFL insider, and Mortensen went on this long tangent about how the Eagles and Russell Wilson are going to do a trade next year. At least they should, is what he basically said. Is that, Schefter was saying, let's talk about the quarterbacks. And instead of Deshaun Watson, the first quarterback brought up by Chris Mortensen was literally Russell Wilson. And immediately he said Philadelphia. Boom. That trade would make sense. The teams, both players and teams have mutual interest there. And I was like, oh my goodness. I would love that, but at the same time, it's so far ahead. Do I want to bring it up to you guys right now? And I was like, screw it. Let's go and talk about it first, and then we'll get into kind of the more actual news that's going on in Philadelphia. So we'll kind of dream a little bit here, and then we'll talk about some legit news. So let's just go and go to the source here, the quote. Let's throw it up on the screen. Here's Mortensen via the Adam Schefter podcast. Quote, and the Philadelphia Eagles, as you know, sitting there. If they get that pick from the Colts with Carson Wentz, that second-round pick becomes one if he plays 70% of the plays. The Eagles have a cachet of first-round draft picks, and there's no question in my mind that Russell Wilson would top their list. As you know, and you might have reported this first, the Eagles, when Russell Wilson came out in the 2012 draft, Andy Reid was the coach, Howie Roseman was certainly in the front office, Russell Wilson was someone they thought about taking in the second round. Am I right? End quote. Schefter would go on to say, yes, that was correct. Famously, Russell Wilson told Andy Reid to come draft me, and the Eagles were going to, until Seattle traded up to go ahead and take, of course, Russell Wilson, what could have been. Now, here's my thought process on this. It's very simple. We'd be stupid not to trade for poor Russell Wilson, right? For as dumb as I keep saying the Eagles would be to trade for Deshaun Watson, completely throw that in the trash when it comes to Russell Wilson. You are comparing apples to... it's not even oranges, like apples to carrots. Like, it's a fruit for vegetable comparison here. Watson has a ton of issues off the football field. Duh. Russell Wilson is one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. I would 100% do this trade if possible. And this all stems from the fact that Russell Wilson was seemingly unhappy with the Seattle Seahawks this past offseason. He seems to continue to be unhappy, even though he's a great team player. He would never voice that publicly. But Seattle hasn't really put a good team around him since that final Super Bowl run in the win against the Patriots, which was years ago. So it would make sense if they wanted to reset to trade him to Philadelphia, because you, of course, are going to go ahead and get a lot of first-round draft picks in return. My big thing, though, is the cost. Like, I've said this all along. I want to keep some first-round draft picks. You're going to get 3. That's most likely, barring Carson Wentz. Knock on wood, let's hope that happens. I would give up 2. I give up 2 this year and then 1 next year. They needed 3, which again, Russell Wilson's worth it. I do 2 and then 1 next year, because I got to keep at least 1, because you've got to get a pass rusher. You need help at cornerback, linebacker, safety. Like, we talk about all those great young players in the draft who will go in the top 10. I don't want to give up the chance of improving the defense just for Russell Wilson, right? Like, I'm still very much sold on the idea of keeping Jalen Hurts, and you have 3 first-round draft picks. That's not looking like it's going to actually happen, depending on what Hurts does over the last half of the year. But if you were to get a chance to trade for Russell Wilson, I would do it. I just really want to have draft picks too. And so that's kind of my question to you guys here. And I'll start with this at the pinned comment down below during the ad break. Would you trade 2 first-round draft picks for Russell Wilson? Like, just 2. Type Y down below for yes, or type N down below for no. All right, back to reality, because, of course, the odds of that happening are very, very slim. So let's get into what actually happened in the news yesterday, and that is the first of which is Eric Wilson was waived. Yes, the linebacker who Thomas Mott said was going to be finally, an answer at linebacker when they signed him this offseason. I'm not right about everything, right? And I say that here on the show. I was very wrong about Eric Wilson. They waived him, like, done. Like, he didn't even make it through the entire season. Like, unbelievable that he couldn't even make it through the entire season. He was signed to be the week 1 starter at middle linebacker and was so bad. And genuinely he was. I mean, missed tackle was one of the most missed tackle rate in the National Football League. So bad, the Eagles are going to not only let him go, but pay him the rest of his $2.75 million guaranteed salary. So he makes money, which is, I guess, great for him. He didn't play anymore. But Philadelphia, oh my goodness. The failure that they've had at linebacker, it's historically bad, and we just don't talk about it enough. Like, we mention it, and people talk about it in the Philadelphia media, but it's never the focus, right? We're talking about Sirianni and Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders and the offensive line and wide receivers and all this stuff. We never talk about linebacker, and yet, 1, the Eagles basically never draft linebackers, at least high in the NFL draft, and 2, when they sign them for free agency the past couple of seasons, they don't work out. Look at this list. I mean, do you recognize any of these names? Paul Warlow, Corey Nelson, Zach Brown, L.J. Fort, Jatavis Brown. Remember Jatavis Brown last year? He was the savior, and he retired before the season even started. I mean, the Eagles have just been terrible getting linebackers, and Wilson is added to another long list of guys going back to, the last great linebacker, Jeremiah Trotter, who I talked to. Actually, I interviewed him on a local radio station here in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago, and he was fun to talk to. I talked to him about the NFC title game, which they beat Atlanta. Just a little side note. I mean, he's a great guy, but he was really the last great linebacker, and I told him that. You're the last great linebacker Philadelphia's had, and he kind of laughed. It's like, it's sad, man. It's sad they cannot figure this ish out in terms of linebackers. They've got to go ahead and draft somebody hopefully next season. Now, who will replace him in the starting lineup? That's interesting. We'll give you that in just 1 second. First, quick shout out to our friends at BetUS. I'm locking in my picks today because some of the lines have changed here. I want to update you guys on this. First, go to chatsports.com/EaglesBet. That promo code is Eagles125. Get that 125% deposit bonus whenever you first sign up. So, here are the picks. They haven't changed, but the lines are changing just a little bit. The first of which is the same. Cincinnati minus 2.5 versus the Browns. I feel very good about the chances of Cincinnati to go ahead and win on the road. I think Cleveland is an absolute nightmare right now in terms of what's going on with Baker Mayfield and what's going on with Odell Beckham Jr. and all sorts of stuff like that. And so that leads me into, and why I'm typing here, the updated odds on the Aaron Rodgers situation with the Chiefs and how the line has changed, because it was a pick'em game. Like, this was going to be a very, very easy win, I think, for essentially the Packers. As I said, pick'em, I mean, it's going to be great. Point spread is now changing to over a touchdown. Right now, I'm seeing minus 7.5 is the update I just checked out here in favor of the Chiefs. I'm still taking the Packers to cover. I think this might get up to plus 8 for the Packers. I don't know what we're looking at right now. Again, it'll change. Whatever's on your screen right now, give me the Packers over the Chiefs. I think that they can, 1, win outright, and 2, I think they can at least cover with Jordan Love, because that offense is still really, really good. Panthers, Patriots, over-under is 41. Give me the over for that one. We'll do an under for the Broncos-Cowboy game, because the over-under is 49.5, and with Dak's injury right now, play or he doesn't play, I still think that they're going to not score that many points, and I think they still beat the Broncos, but don't score that many points. Those are my picks, though. I'm going to jump in on winning these bets. Hopefully, I'm going to win my bets. You guys might be able to win the bets as well. Do their friends at BetUS and sign up using our link and our deposit bonus to get that deposit bonus via the promo code Eagles125. Speaking of linebacker, here's your new linebacker depth chart. Davion Taylor is probably going to be your starter now in place of Eric Wilson. And honestly, I mentioned this in my preview for the trade deadline. I talked about trading Eric Wilson and trading Alex Singleton. It's because of Davion Taylor and Sean Bradley. Like, we need to figure out if these guys are good or not. Like, they're late-round draft picks. Taylor a little bit higher than, obviously, Sean Bradley. But these guys got to play. And either they can play or they can't. And if they can play, we figure it out now, and then we don't waste draft picks on linebackers next year. Or, more likely, they can't play, and then we got to go ahead and for sure get linebackers next season. So, that's the official linebacker situation. Taylor should be the starter now is what I'm hearing, which I think is great news because it can't get much worse than what Eric Wilson was putting out there on film. Drop a like, though, if you guys think the Eagles got to draft a linebacker next year. Like, at least add a linebacker. At least got a free agent. You got to nail something. They got to nail a linebacker if you guys agree. Thumbs up right now. Of course, we have great draft coverage, I'm telling you. We're just getting started. Like, I'm starting my draft research a little bit right now. It's still a little early, but I'm telling you, the offseason is where we thrive here with draft news and rumors. So make sure you guys are subscribed right now. Plus, you get all the latest and greatest content when we are talking about it right now during the season. So plenty of great stuff coming up here on the channel, so go down below and subscribe. Okay, we'll end on this, your Week 9 injury report, some good and bad news. Jalen Reagor was supposed to play Sunday. I think he still is. And he's scored Nick Sirianni. He's hopeful with the ankle injury, although he did not practice yesterday, so keep an eye on that one. Javon Hargrave also still dealing with the shoulder injury. He's unclear for Sunday as well. Did not participate. Anthony Harris, though, has been out the past couple of weeks. Marcus Epps has been filling in, not so admirably. But Harris is going to be a full participant in practice yesterday, or was, and he should play. Justin Herbert popped up on the injury report for the Chargers via a hand injury. He banged it against the helmet, throwing the football against the Patriots. He was limited yesterday, but Brandon Staley said there should be no worries here, and I think he's going to go ahead and go. So if you saw that tweet, I think I retweeted one of them saying, ooh, maybe he's not going to play. He is. Don't worry about it. Finally here, of course, Chargers at Eagles on Sunday, the afternoon matchup. My simple thought on this is as follows. If you can duplicate what you did against the Lions, just running the football, not scoring 44 points, just run the football, I think you can beat the Chargers. I think the Chargers defense is a little bit lackluster. I think the Charger offense has been a little bit stally the past couple of weeks. As long as they implement what they did last week, blitzing linebackers, loading up the box, running the football, play action pass, not letting Jalen Hurts have to do too much, you can win this football game. Now, will they is a different story. The Chargers are, 4-3 or 4-4, whatever it is. They're still very good, and it would not shock me if the Eagles lose this game. But if you win, the playoff picture does kind of grow a little bit, even though we kind of said it was dead a couple of weeks ago. But that's how the NFL works. So we'll see. We'll cover it here on the channel. A full reaction up there on Monday. Man, I hope they win. If they win this game 2 in a row and against a good football team, things might be looking up. And I'm a positive guy, even though we know that I will be negative if they lose on Monday, as you guys know. So, all right, ultimate for today on our Eagles news and rumor video. Mailbag video comes up this weekend. Hashtag Eagles down below in the comment section. And, of course, stay subscribed for all the latest and greatest Eagle content in the next couple of days and weeks. For Philadelphia Eagles now, I'm Thomas Mott signing off. For the rest of your day.